This is the TPN Podcast, episode number 4. I'm Matt, co-founder of the Pilot Network and co-host of the TPN Podcast. We're back with another touch and go. In this episode, Adam's going to talk about the steps you'll take towards getting your dream job. Here we go.
Hi, folks. Another touch and go quick hitter podcast. I'm Adam Uhan, bringing you a little bit more information to help you along your journey into the aviation world, however that may be. So one of the things that we have talked about a bunch of times just with random people all over the place is what should they do in order of merit to go out and start working towards their last job. Well, we kind of figured this out and have talked about it in closed off circles, and we would call it the if I can only do one thing premise. So if I can only do one thing tomorrow to end up getting where I want to be the next day, or if I can only do one thing today to be where I want to be tomorrow, what would that be? In all honesty, we hear the question, if I can do one thing right now to get going, what do you think it is? That is the exact wording. The question of if I can only do one thing right now is so relative that it's difficult to come up with one solid answer. Your situation is so individualized and unique compared to others that we can't give you one overarching, this is what you have to do tomorrow. There's a lot of variables, and you already know that. But sometimes it helps to have somebody else kind of say that to you and give you that insight from the other side. However, since this is a podcast about one thing and one thing only to do, I'm going to try to answer it. Probably completely wrong to most of you, but I still will try. All right. The first thing that I would do, especially for my brothers and sisters in the military out there, is take a look at yourself and see what do you have done as far as certificates and ratings goes. What I'm pushing you towards is, do you have your ATP? No? Well, go out and get it. Do you have your written done? Well, go get that done immediately. There's lots of great programs and software out there that can help you get through your ATP written immediately. And I mean immediately. You want to have that done now. There's also some FAA regulatory guidance for military people that you might be able to take your written and then it'll extend past 2 years. There's lots of good information in the Facebook group about that. We do have some other people who are kind of experts in that field, and they can help you kind of walk through that. I will say I know this for a fact. Very few people I have ever met have gotten hired without at least an ATP written, if not the ATP practical. That's not to say it can't be done. I would just rather have that knocked out so it's not something you have to worry about going forward. Plus, it makes you more marketable for any job that you might want to apply for. Just something to keep in mind as you go forward. Okay, well, I lied. It's not just one thing and one thing only. There are other things out there that I would go out and do right away. If you can't, go get your ATP if it doesn't make sense. So this is the one thing I would do if you couldn't go do that piece to get moving in the right direction. I would start filling out my applications. Whether or not you are interested in getting an airline job yesterday, or whether it's in 3 to 6 months or a year to 2 years down the road, go ahead, get on the website, start filling that stuff out. You're going to be able to not time compress yourself once that big day comes, the separation or whatever it is from the military. So as far as my regional bubbas go, I didn't bring up the ATP thing so much for you guys because most of you haven't. And if you don't, you may be in the restrictive category or whatever the case might be. And you might not be able to go out and do it no matter what. So this applies to everybody. Go out and start filling out your applications. I'll tell you what, it takes a little bit of time. It takes some work. In one of the other Touch and Go podcasts, I talk about the application process. This gives you a chance to do it in a really solid, scheduled way, so you have time to knock out each individual section in the way that you want it done. I think that will really help you. It'll de-stress it. And once you're done and you can hit publish, you'll feel a lot better about yourself going forward. You don't have to worry about getting it all done right before the big day, whether that's separating or whether it's, okay, I can't fly at this regional anymore, or my corporate department's shutting down, or whatever the case might be. You'll have it ready to go. You can put just a little bit more effort in, hit publish, and who knows, you might get that email or phone call right away. It may take a little while, but there's a lot to that. We all know that. Going forward, we've heard stories from our friends that sometimes it just doesn't happen the way we want it to. All right, so that's really it. After lying to you about saying there's only one thing, and actually there being two, I guess 1 and 1A is more how I would put it. Those are the things, those are the hurdles that you kind of need to leap over to start on your way to finishing the course. There are lots of other and very pertinent actions you can do if those two items aren't available for you. I don't know how the application or writing your resume wouldn't be available to you if you live on, I don't know, if you're Matt Damon and you live on Mars or something and you don't have access to a computer with Word or Microsoft. What was the old one called? Microsoft WordPad? No, before that. Whatever. You guys, I think it was Lotus Notes. I think that was it. Anyways, so get on Prodigy and log on to airline apps and see what you can do. But if you're really serious and ready to make that step, get out there and get on that stuff right now. There's a lot of stuff out there on all forms of the internet, but at thepilotnetwork.org, we have some more information about ATP schools and the application process, who can help you out in that way. If you want, go take a look at that stuff, or jump on the Facebook group. There's tons of information on there. We're trying to formulate a way where we can make that a searchable and very digestible piece of information all the way through that forum, because it is so expansive and so much good information on there. Thanks again for joining me, and look forward to seeing you again at another podcast.